you might start out thinking that you're going to have a nice, easy, slow day in the morning, and then, you get a couple of phone calls, and before you know it, it's, you're home at 7 p.m. What's up, vlog? I am just hitting the road. It's 5:45 a.m. Going out with my buddy for a morning ride. I've got actually had 2 cases this morning with the doc that I've been telling you about previously that I was setting up for this week. They canceled. So I've got 1 case this afternoon at 1, but that kind of freed up some time this morning to go for a ride. So it's 5:45. We're going to do about 30 miles, about 1,300 feet of elevation. Yeah, so here we are cruising. I don't know, about a shot. Got the, morning. Got the Cannondale CAT-X 105. It's actually the SE version. With a little bit of room for wider tires for gravel riding. Came with 37 millimeter gravel tires on it, but threw on some Zip 28 mil road tires. So anyway, pretty good little bike. Yeah, catch you guys later. So we got let's see, 2 hours 22 minutes, 48 miles, 20.5. You can see that. 20.5. Let's see how we did. 2148 feet of climbing. Yeah, it's a good morning ride. It is now, time's it, right about 8:30. So, go inside, get some breakfast, get changed, and get ready for cases today. All right, what is up, vlog? Back, done with the ride this morning. Just hopped in my car a few minutes ago. It is 9:45 a.m. So got a little bit later start because of the 2 cases that canceled this morning. So, but got out early anyways, and went for the bike ride. So I am headed to a surgery center right now. I need to check some inventory. It's at actually the surgery center that I was going to be doing cases at this morning, where the case is canceled. I need to pick up a couple of things from there, since we're not doing the cases there. I don't know if they've been rescheduled yet. Hopefully he'll put them on for next week. But I'm going to pick that up because I potentially will need it at another facility. So I don't want to just leave it there right now, especially since I don't know when the cases are going to be. So I'm going to do that, pick that up, and then head up to the other surgery center on the north side of the city, where I've got the shoulder scope at 1 o'clock. So it's the only case I've got for the day. I've got a number of phone calls and emails to make, and some follow-up calls to make. But that is it's kind of what the day is going to look like thus far. Things always change. It's you might start out thinking that you're going to have a nice, easy, slow day in the morning, and then you get a couple of phone calls, and before you know it, it's you're home at 7 p.m. So there's definitely a lot of unpredictability in medical sales, but it's part of the job. So do that. Maybe I can get a haircut today too. I saw that at least here in Illinois, a lot of the places are opening back up, and I think the place where I get my haircut is going to be open, which I am well overdue for one of those. So maybe I could sneak that in this afternoon, get a little trim, get it buzzed up. Maybe I should go bald. Probably not though. Yeah, catch you guys later. All right, what's up, vlog? I just left that account, the surgery center, picked up some equipment, and now I'm headed up to the surgery center where I've got the shoulder scope at 1 o'clock. So I've got a few minutes in the car. What I figured I'd kind of share, because I touched on it in one of the previous vlogs earlier Monday of this week. I had a meeting with 2 doctors, a lunch meeting, And it went very well. And in the course of the lunch meeting, they ended up calling the surgery center that they operate at and talking to the administrator there directly and saying, hey, we want to use this product, make sure this happens. And what I had been thinking about for a while is how to get past the kind of like the stall point in the sales process. And when I'm talking about sales process, I mean like specifically in the meetings that you're having. And I think I did a podcast about this, or I recorded one. Maybe I haven't launched it yet. Either way, I was thinking about how do I get past kind of the stall point where they're interested, they like the product, but they haven't pushed it all the way across the table. Like, we haven't got the deal done. I don't have my equipment in the facility ready to do cases, right? Because, at least with our device, and it's unique, so nobody else has what we want or has what we have. So there's a certain novelty factor that we have. There are pretty much zero surgeons. I can think of a couple, but they're kind of unique cases. Pretty much every single surgeon that I show our device to says, oh yeah, that's cool. I do want to use that. I want to try that. But it doesn't always translate into getting it in their cases to be used. And there's a number of reasons why that could happen. But ultimately, what I've found is that it's very incumbent upon the surgeon to help me get the product in. And I'm sure that there's other reps out there that are experiencing the same thing. And the more that surgeons have less say in the products that they use, the more administrative personnel are making decisions on what's being used, the more difficult it is to get the product in the door, and the more the surgeon has to fight for your product. And so I've been thinking about this for a number of weeks, and it's really about I'm in the meeting, I've demoed the product, they like the product, they say, yeah, it's cool, I want to try it. How do I then transition to, you have to make this happen for me? Because them saying, yeah, if you, more or less like, yeah, if you can get in here, I absolutely want to use this. And then I walk into the surgery center or the hospital and they're like, nah, get in line, right? And so what I've been thinking about and what I implemented with them earlier this week that I will share with you is when I got to the point in that meeting where they're like, yeah, I want to use this product. Yeah, I like it. I'm asking them the questions like, hey, how do you feel about this? Is there anything you don't like about the product? No, it's freaking awesome. Okay, cool. What I said to them is, look, and I said it for more or less verbatim. I'll tell you how I said it to them so that you can understand like the context of it. I was like, so virtually every meeting that I've gone into and shown our product to surgeons like yourselves, there's not a single one that has said like, no, I don't want to try this. Every single surgeon that I've shown this to says, yeah, I want to try this product. This looks excellent. I want to, can you bring it in for my cases? So there's not a single surgeon that I have met with that hasn't wanted to use the product. But where we get hung up, or where I found that we get hung up, is a couple of things. Number one, the facility already has a contract in place with somebody else for these products, or there's a relationship that makes it problematic, or it keeps me from getting in the door, or the facility or the account specifically needs the surgeon to push the product through. And from my standpoint, we've got to figure out a way to actually make this happen, because ultimately there's not a single facility that is stocking my product now that didn't already have a contract in place for competitive products. So we've got to find a way to actually make it work for you and get it in the door in your facility. And their response back was, okay, well, what do you need from us? Right? And that is, and maybe it's just kind of like best case scenario. And I really don't have a whole lot of real examples yet, so the sample size is quite small of me taking that approach where I am essentially laying out all of the potential roadblocks to why, yes, they want to use it, yes, they like the product, but why it's not going to happen unless these things are taken care of, unless I get their support, unless they make it happen. When I haven't outlined that in the meetings, it pretty much always stalls out. Not pretty much always, but a significant portion of the time it stalls out. Like, unless I'm getting lucky where it's a facility that I have relationships with, or that I know they're open to bringing new products in. Like, there's some facilities, just quite simply, that are more open to letting doctors bring in new products than other ones. And so, by outlining it, hey, every surgeon that I've gotten to at this point of the conversation says, yes, I want to use it. But there's always a couple of reasons why, or there's often a couple of reasons why we don't end up getting the product in the facility for you to use. I need your help. I need your support. Yes, there may be contracts in place. That could be a problem. But let me assure you, there's not a single facility that is currently stocking our product that didn't already have a contract in place. Every account has contracts. Just because they have a contract does not necessarily mean that we can't bring it in, you know. And so that's more or less how that conversation went. And one of the doctors at the end of kind of that part of the conversation said, okay, no problem. And she pulled out her phone and called the administrator of the surgery center. And that's how I got it in. Like, I guarantee you, if I didn't get that doctor to call over to the surgery center, talk to the administrator of that surgery center saying, I want to use this product, please meet with the rep. If I would have just walked over myself after that meeting was done and said, yeah, I just met with Dr. So-and-so, you know, 2 doctors here, they want to use this product, she'd be like, oh, yeah, sure, I'm sure they do. And it never goes anywhere. That's where it gets stalled out. So what I would recommend, and again, this is, who knows if it'll play itself out this way, but I have a small sample size where it has worked, and my assumption and my theory is that is the best way, at least that I've figured out thus far, that's going to help me move past the place where all these deals are stalling out. Now, it's not going to work. Nothing ever works 100% of the time. But I need the doctors, I need to know how serious they are about using this product too. It's a good gauge for how seriously they want to use the product. If I tell them, hey, look, everybody wants to use it, but it stalls out for these 3 reasons right here, and that's why I need your support to make this happen. They'll either get on the phone right now, they'll send a text, they'll send an email, they'll do something to make it happen, or they're like, yeah, you know, I'll call them. They'll slow play it at that point, because you're backing them into a corner. Hopefully you're not making it feel necessarily like you're backing them into a corner, but in effect you're backing them into a corner saying, okay, now it's nut crunching time. I need you to hold up your end of the deal. If you say this is a product that you want to try, that you want to use, that you like, all right, we'll make it happen. You know, that's more or less what I'm trying to facilitate that without making it feel like I'm really actually backing them into the corner. So I felt like that was useful to share. Take that for what it's worth, and I would recommend trying it, especially if you feel like your deals are stalling out, like you have a good meeting and it seems like they're interested, but you can't get it over the finish line. Implement something like that. Okay? Cool. See you guys later. All right, what's up, vlog? Got to the surgery center about an hour early, just to make sure that they had everything set up. Since I didn't have other commitments, I could show up early, check on everything. They're teed up, ready to go. I met with one of the administrators, actually the surgery scheduler in the surgery center, about case tabs. That's a portal for reps where we can be notified of cases through this app, and if there are like changes, case cancels, or it moves times, we get notified through the app. So I've got to get set up through that. And I was able to see that the doctor's surgery scheduler actually wrote us in on this case. So like one of the big things when you are trying to convert a surgeon to your product is it's not just that, well, I used the product one time with the doctor in surgery. It's that if the rest of his office staff, or at least the key people in his or her office, don't also know that, by the way, he's switching to the new product, you're not going to be notified of cases. So like a worst case scenario that could happen for you is turn only lane. One of the worst car. What are you doing? Sorry about that. Road rage. One of the worst things that can happen is you get a doctor that's used your products like, yeah, I want to use it. And you don't get notified of the cases. The surgery scheduler there's a surgery scheduler in each physician office that coordinates the surgeries and has a request of, I need to notify X number of people, X number of vendors for these cases, right? Like I'm going to use Stryker for this total knee. So I've got to write Stryker on the patient request form or for that case. And I want to use, whatever other companies. So you might have 4 or 5 companies on there based on the products that they're using. If the surgery scheduler doesn't know and hasn't made the adjustment to add you to every time that this doctor says, for us, it's every time it's a shoulder arthroscopy, he's going to use our product. If that surgery scheduler doesn't know that, they're not going to add our company name to the request for that case, which then gets sent to the surgery center. They're going to look at it, and they're not going to notify us either because we aren't on the original request. So believe me, it's a pain in the ass when you're not being requested for the case to call and connect all the dots on, well, actually, yes, he does want to use me for this product or use my product for this case. It's just we're not yet requested on there. It's a pain in the ass to go through that process. And ultimately what can happen is like you might get a doctor to use you a couple of times, but if the surgery scheduler in their office hasn't made the switch to where they put you down every single time he or she is doing the case that he or she's going to use your product on, what can happen is it gets missed. You don't get notified of the case. They go to the surgery center. He brings the case in. The staff, the surgery scheduler at the center doesn't know that you're supposed to be there. The case request, the pull sheet, doesn't have your company's name on it. So they just pull the previous product that they were using, right? Like, because specifically our product is not necessarily completely replacing the previous products that he was using. Those products that he was using previously are still in the account. And if we're not requested, the staff is just going to pull the old product. And so then he gets in there, he's like, oh, I thought I was using that stuff. And either he's going to get upset at you for not making the switch and being notified. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, the breakdown's happening somewhere, and it's your product, and it's your company, and it's your money on the line. Like, you need to figure it out. That's a best case scenario. The worst case scenario is he's used your product a couple times, gives you a yes, like, yeah, I want to use this product. And then you don't show up, and he uses the old stuff, and maybe it's cheaper. And he's like, well, I mean, I did just fine in this case without that new device that I was going to use. It's like, maybe I don't really need it. You're opening the door for the person to second guess their decision to say, yeah, I'm going to use your product for all of these cases. So that's why it's imperative that you have connections in their office specifically to the surgery scheduler so that that person knows when this doctor puts on a shoulder arthroscopy, he uses us every time, and therefore we get requested. So that's kind of a long rant, but hopefully it's actually useful to kind of understand the process there. It's very, very important that your company or your product, whatever it is actually being requested by their office for each of these cases so that the surgery center's on the same page, they're going to notify you, etc. So, yeah, it's all good. I am pulling in to grab some lunch now because I've got an hour till his case starts. So check back with you guys later.